Welcome back to Joe Stunner Boxing. Mug of tea on the go. Hope you're having a good weekend. The hot weather is gradually leaving us, but still a bit muggy. But anyway, hope you're having a good weekend. So, if you've watched this channel before, you'll know that occasionally we'll do what's called Boxing's Hidden Gems. These are fights that happened in my lifetime that I think are really good ones. They kind of slip under the radar. They don't have the big fanfare that a lot of other fights do. And this week I've chosen Spencer Fearon against David Walker. Now this fight, it was in Norwich back in 2003, 25th of July, and a very, very good fight. A very good fight indeed. In fact, it's an up and downer. It's one of those Rocky movie things. Now, we know about Spencer Fearon. You probably, if you follow boxing, you may have heard of him. Apart from being a fighter, he was also a promoter for a while. He used to promote Choi Svienporev, I think his name was. It was a kind of a cult figure on the British scene about 12, 15 years ago. And Spencer also does a lot of punditry. He's on the telly, he's giving his opinion. I think currently he runs a podcast with Tunde Ajayi. So he's into boxing, into it in a big way, always dressed for it, very smart, bit of a character, you know. And yeah, he had a boxing career. The guy knows what he's talking about. He's a very knowledgeable guy, very intelligent guy. And coming into this fight with David Walker, he had an 11 wins, 4 KOs, and 4 defeats record. Now, if you look at his wins, they were against journeymen. There's no two ways about it. They were against very, very low-level guys, journeymen and guys who weren't really going anywhere. The only recognisable names on his record were Gary Logan, who's a very good domestic level fighter from the 90s. This fight with Gary Logan, he lost it in 2 rounds. Spencer got knocked out in 2 rounds, and it was for the British Boxing Border Control Southern Area middleweight title. This one, the one against Walker, was for the light middleweight title. So Spencer had dropped down a division. Very tall for the weight, big for the weight, but used to fight very, very small. Used to lean forward an awful lot in his fights, which I don't know why he did that, but he would make himself small. He wouldn't always be able to use that those height and reach advantages. Spencer also lost to Lee Blundell, again another very good domestic level fighter. He lost to him over 6 rounds on points. So he wasn't really tearing up any trees. His career was stop-start. But this was his chance against David Walker to really make a name for himself, because David Walker was one of the class of 2000 amateurs who turned pro under Mick Hennessy. You may have heard of Carl Froch. He was one of them as well. And Walker was being groomed for, bigger things. There was talk of him possibly being a world title contender, maybe a winner, certainly a European level fighter. He was being groomed for stardom. And along comes Spencer, who comes looking for his light middleweight title. Southern Area light middleweight title. Now Walker, even though he coming in, I think he had a 19-1-1 record. The defeat was by stoppage to Jimmy Vincent, and Jimmy Vincent, you may remember, had he had a very patchy record. I think he finished with about 20-something wins and 20-something defeats. But he was a tough old campaigner who, towards the end of his career, went on a bit of a run, and actually was robbed in a British title fight against, I can't remember who it was, another guy, David someone, I can't remember the name of the guy. But Vincent clearly won the fight and got robbed for the British title. He was never the same again. I think he got bombed out in a round in his next fight, which was a shame. But he had that journeyman status, and then he made it to British title contention by beating David Walker, stopping him in 8 rounds, which was a big surprise at the time. So it did, even though Walker was being groomed for stardom, it did indicate that he had a bit of vulnerability himself. So you got 2 guys going into this fight, this this Southern area light middleweight fight, and they're both vulnerable. And you know what happens when that? And neither of them has really got a big punch. I mean, certainly Fearon didn't. Walker had maybe half his wins were stoppages, but he wasn't renowned as a one-punch knockout artist. So you've got two fighters vulnerable. They're coming in, and they have a war, and it's one of those up and down rocky things. And I'm not going to tell you who wins, and I'm not going to tell you which knockdown occurred for whom in which round. But I'll give you one bit of advice when you watch this fight. The link will be in the description below, by the way. One bit of advice. Do not blink towards the end of any round, okay? Do not turn away towards the end of any round. Just, it's my bit of advice to you. It's a great fight. Great fight. Both orthodox fighters. Again, Spencer, very tall. He looks huge compared to Walker. Tall, rangy, but for whatever reason, fought small a lot of the time. Leant right forward, offering a target, if you like, to the opponent. And both guys vulnerable. Both guys not great at taking a punch. So have a look. Have a look at the link in the description box. Let me know what you think of this fight. Leave your comments below. After he'd retired, actually, Walker did have some out-of-the-ring issues regarding his mental health, possibly some other issues, some other personal issues. But I believe he's pulled it around. He actually attended the funeral of Spencer's mother recently, very recently, last couple of weeks, in July 2022. So Spencer and David Walker went on to be good friends. Have a look at the fight, though. They definitely weren't friends in the ring on that night. Again, the Southern area, light middleweight title fight, 25th of July, 2003. Links in the description. Enjoy it. Catch you later.